Hello all and welcome back to the auditorium for our last session of the day. It's one that I know many of you, certainly myself, have been looking forward to. Hopefully everyone got plenty from the breakout sessions, and a big thank you to all the facilitators. Yeah, my next guest, someone extraordinary. I first interviewed when she lived on the Gold Coast about 4 years ago. 17, how old were you? 20, I don't know. 5. And I heard this name, Emily Wurramara, and I knew she was singing in language, and I thought she's got to be one of the first guests on our Word Up series. And Emily came on and shared 3 words which have remained with me ever since. So Emily's been quoted as a teacher and an encourager, not just of her own people, the Anandiliokwa people, but her whole audience, young and old, of all cultural backgrounds. There's a humility, which you'll see, and a genuine style to the way she tells very important stories of her people and her family. We'll hear a little bit about Emily's childhood growing up on Groote Island, where days were filled with travel, fishing and extended family, and a mother telling stories of dreams and dolphins that would one day become the seeds of Emily's music. Emily is an ARIA-nominated and 3-time Queensland Music Award-winning artist, singer-songwriter in both English and her traditional language, Anandiliokwa. Could you please welcome Emily to the stage? Right.
Is it on? Is it on?
It's on.
Oh.
Tell us a little bit, Emily, about this language. It's extraordinary language of yours, Anandiliokwa.
So Anandiliokwa is spoken by my people, the Wanandiliokwa people from Groote Island and Biggerton Island. I think there's a little picture up there, someone's little drawing, that's cute. But oh, now it's upside down.
Make it bigger. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, all the way up there in the Gulf of Carpentaria. Thanks. And I grew up with Anandiliokwa around me till I was about 6 years old, and then I moved to Brisbane. I moved here. Yeah.
But it's International Mother Tongue Day. It's truly your mother tongue because you grew up speaking it.
Definitely. Yeah, you know, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and so forth and so on and so on. This language has been in my family and in our culture for years, and will be and will continue to be.
And yeah, it's a truly special language, and you know, you've shared some words with me over the years, which we'll reprise today. But what I'm struck by is how distinct the language is, and there's a band of languages across that part of, you know, Arnhem Land, which are distinct from all the other languages, and they don't even know how to describe them. They're so unique. And I'm thinking Yanyuwa is one of them. Some other languages in Arnhem Land are unlike any others. So there's something really special about that language.
I think so, and it, you know, language is, it's the environment as well. I always say you hear it in the sea, you hear it in the trees, you hear it when the wind is whistling. It's everywhere if you listen hard enough.
And so growing up on Groote, but home is actually not Groote Island.
No. My home is Biggerton Island. So Biggerton Island, the traditional name for it is called Malia Buddha. Malia Buddha is what I named my last album. Yeah.
And we're going to hear that. Are we going to hear that one, that song? This is a very special song. And ARIA nominated the whole album, Malia Buddha. Congratulations to Emily Wurramara.
Thank you.
It was actually Best Blues and Roots Album of the Year at the AIR Awards, the Independent Music Awards.
Yeah, which I spun out. I thought Brother Dan Sultan was going to get it. But yeah, when they called my name, I think that it was a real honour for me because, you know, I not a lot of girls back at home have the privilege that I have and have this platform that I have and can speak about things that are going on. I'm the only female singer-songwriter from Groote Island and Biggerton Island, and I'd love to see that more happening in our communities. And it's amazing. Like, I just hope that I'm an inspiration to all our young sisters out there, whether they have 1, 2, 3 babies or no babies at all.
Now, the language Anandiliokwa, I say Anandiliokwa.
It's Anandiliokwa.
Anandiliokwa. But the word for the people is slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's Anandiliokwa is the language, and Wanandiliokwa are the people. Wanandiliokwa means like saltwater people, like one people.
And when we first spoke, it was down the line from the ABC in the Gold Coast. And what I was struck by was just while you're not fluent anymore, although you grew up being fluent, you were very clear about the words that you chose. And I just want to kind of go back to revisit those words, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because they had a kind of quite a deep effect on me. And the first word actually appeared later in the title of a song.
Yeah.
And it's quite a heartfelt word, that one. I'm not going to...
Ngaraku Chainama.
Naku Chainama.
Ngaraku Chainama.
Naku Chainama.
He's doing amazing though, isn't he?
But it's also kind of, we'll talk about the meaning, but what I'm finding with these words in your language, they're so well suited to, vocalization in lyrically, I mean.
Well, I think that for me, I didn't have trouble with that because I could hear the melody in the language, like when I was saying before, like to say, come, let's go to the shop, it's Guangalagacha shopua, there's that automatic little melody that you can take from it, but just kind of change the key. It kind of like helps you out a lot. It's a bit cheating, but...
There are so many syllables in this particular word, if you could call them that. But can you break that word down for me, Naku Chainama?
Ngaraku Chainama.
And what does it mean?
Ngaraku Chainama means I'm hurting in Anandiliokwa.
And how would we say that in a phrase?
Ngaraku Chainama nganyanga andrenda, which means my heart is hurting.
Can I hear it again?
Ngaraku Chainama nganyanga andrenda.
Beautiful. And in the song, Naku Chainama, you sing about this little bit of heartsickness. When did you write that particular one?
I wrote that song in 2013. Oh my gosh. I just finished high school. And I had heard that a mining company wanted to come to Groote Island and mine the seabed. And the seabed for us is very sacred because our song lines run through there and connects us through to the mainland. And so my people, our mob all yarned and we had meetings and we took them to court and we ended up winning the court case in 2013. The NT government saw a ban on seabed mining around Groote Island and its surrounding waters. And so it's I wrote the song about, because I was hurting at the time, because when I hear and see that the land hurts, my heart hurts with it. And I'm sure many of you agree that we're very connected with the land and everything and all the beings that dwell on it. And so I went home and I was like, talking to Mum. I said, oh Mum, this is what's really going on, this is what's happening, I want to do something about it, I want to write something about it. And she's told me the word for I'm hurting, and I just all kind of came together. And I remember I was sitting there and it was a sunset and I was on my piano and the words just kind of flowed and came out. Sometimes you can't help the songwriting process, it just needs to be let out, I guess.
Well, I've never had that experience.
That's okay.
But I kind of do know what you mean, like when there's something that has to be said or something that has to be written down, something that has to be verbalized in a way.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a must. It's just
comes
that feeling,
out.
you gotta do it.
Yes, this beautiful language. one of the other words that you shared on this occasion, and I encourage you all to go back to the Word Up episode, which features Emily speaking
Just
beautifully.
go to all of them. Just go to all of them.
Speaking beautifully, and you had a cold, and but you still managed to do it, and you did it so generously. I'm very, very thankful. But there was another word, and it's the word for sunset.
Sunset. Wardardowia is sunset in Anantleokwa.
And how might I say that, like Wadadawia, in a sentence? Beautiful sunset.
Morakpa Wardardowia, which means wow, what a beautiful sunset.
And the other one was particularly special. You told a story about this one, about the word for sister, and how important these relationships with sisters are very important. But, on the island too, this sense of kinship with other young women.
I think, growing up, you've got to have your sisters around you because for me, growing up in a very male-dominated community and family, it was the sisters that was the driving force behind those men, and it's just sad and disappointing that they're not acknowledged for the true power of what they hold and what they do for our communities. It's the sisters that back each other up, and you've got to love your sisters, man, no matter what. You've got to love them.
I've got 3, so...
I've got none. I've only got a little brother. But, he's a bit of both sometimes.
But sisters are the other women in the community, people who grow up around you, people who are kin to you, who you know, who are related to you.
Yeah.
Those bonds are so important.
Oh, they're so important because, it takes a village to raise a baby. It's a very popular saying, I know, but it's very true. And as women, I believe we are very sacred. Like we pass our babies from the spirit world through here to the real world, and I don't think I can fathom I can't express how sacred and special that is, and how women should be respected and loved and nurtured and treated for the absolute queens and goddesses that they are. I think in this society we do undermine a lot of our beautiful black women, and it makes me very proud that there are a lot of those role models in my life, and I grew up with a lot of that inspiration in my life. One of them right there, look.
Diepa.
Diepa means big sister in Anantleokwa.
And talking about that, I mean, we should say too that you had Bub's teething, and you had a hard night.
I've had 2 hours sleep. I'm sure a lot of you mamas out there can relate, and dads. It's really beautiful when you have a baby because your perspective of everything changes, and it's not just about you, it's about what am I going to leave behind for them to continue, or what am I going to leave for them to learn from, to listen to grow, to pass on to her daughter, and so on and so on. It's a pretty big responsibility.
It is, but it sounds like you're gonna get through. It's just teething time.
It's just teething time. That's right. Just a couple sleepless nights. So hopefully not the whole week though. Like, sis, calm down.
And I do believe that you can sing all the music from Moana.
Oh, let's not do that. No, let's not do that.
But you know all the words. Is what I'm saying.
Oh no. That's how I had to get my daughter to sleep this morning. She was, Moana. I was like, yeah, but all right, here, Moana. Shh. She's funny.
Well, at least it wasn't Frozen.
Oh, well, that's true.
So, Bickerton, I mean, time was spent between Groot, which is the bigger of the islands.
Yeah.
Bickerton's much smaller.
It is a bit smaller. The only people that have really been there are the Macassans, who we used to trade treepang for, and the Dutch on Groot. It's the way you say Groot is Grute Ilant, which I only found out specifically for this. But yeah, I grew up on Groot and Biggerton. My great-great-grandfather Joe Wurramara established the community on Malia Buddha, and all our mobs just been living there ever since. Like, there's people on that island who haven't left that island since they first moved over, since they went over in the little canoes. And yeah, it's very sacred to me because my grandmother had a house, and it was a beautiful, like a Queenslander, a beautiful red Queenslander, and it had a veranda all the way around, and we'd sit there and watch her do her gardening and painting, and my great-great-grandfather would sit there in his wheelchair and tell us stories, and yeah, it was very special. So that's why I named my album after Malia Buddha, because that's where my true roots and my true home is.
So you knew your great-great-grandfather?
I didn't know him, goodness no. Oh no. I knew his son, who used to, he was, so we have these kinship systems called Moiti systems, and there's Dua and Yiditja. And his mother was a Dua woman from Yidakala, and she came over and married my great-great-grandfather as his second wife, and then so on, and then they had all these babies, and yeah, I go there and people are like, hey, hello, how are you? Like, we're family. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. There's so many. I can't keep up. I just get up and go, hey! You gotta act like you know.
And you kind of just have to assume that you're related to everybody.
Pretty much. You don't know. And they get so offended when they don't, they know you don't recognize them. They're like, but it's me. Come on. You know Masabi me?
So the debut album, Malia Buddha, you sing in both English and Anandiliokwa, as you always have. As I mentioned, nominated for the 2018 ARIA Award for Best Blues and Roots Album, 4 2019 Queensland Music Award nominations, and Best Blues and Roots Album of the Year at the AIR Awards. We're going to hear you sing the title track from the album, but I want to extract a bit more information from you in the meantime. But why was it always a natural thing that you would sing in language?
I think that conversation with myself started after I turned 15, and I went back home. Oh no, after I turned 14, sorry, I went back home for my gargle, which means grandmother, her funeral, and it was like, then it hit me. I was walking around, I saw all these men singing, and the women were behind, and we were quiet. They were very quiet, and I was like, why aren't they singing along with them? Like, why aren't women singing in language? Why aren't our women singing in language? And then I went home, did some brainstorming, yarned to my mum for a bit, and I was like, this is actually something that I would love to do, because not just for myself, but for our future, to archive and preserve music. I've always said this, but music is such a universal language. It doesn't matter what language you're singing, and it speaks to your heart and to your soul. And we're all vessels at the end of the day. We're all souls walking around here. And I just really wanted to empower and inspire the younger sisters in my community who I knew did not get to have that opportunity that I had. I went to an all-girls private school on a Quatsif scholarship here in Brisbane. I grew up here in Brisbane. I did my training at AAA, training at 98.9 FM. So I'm very privileged. I'm a very privileged person in the way I grew up. And sadly, a lot of girls back in my community aren't. We still have this hierarchy, male hierarchy, arranged marriages, and I feel like, I know that women deserve the right to choose their own future.
Certainly.
Whether black or white.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so key. And with bringing up little one, Kagari?
Kagari.
Kagari. Can you? Little one's got a special name. That's a special name.
Yeah, she does. So on her father's side, my daughter's name is Kagari, and on her father's side, she's Bachelor Mananjali Garawan Garawani. And Fraser Island, the traditional name for Fraser Island is Gurri, but it's spelt with a K when you spell it. And Uncle Fred, I don't know if you know Uncle Fred. It's her Poppy Fred. He's a bit of a kitty. And I was talking to Uncle Fred, and I was like, oh, I really want to name her something from UMob, and I love this, and can I take this? So Bubba's dad is also Solomon Islander as well, and they use a lot of double I's in their language when they write it down, and so we spelt it K apostrophe double I G A, the double R, the roll of the tongue from my mob I. So it's just all a bit of a mash.
It's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And no one else has that name.
I don't know.
Well, it's an amalgam of.
Yeah, it's just a bit of everything. All my babies gonna have all weird, kooky names.
So those words again, Diepa.
Diepa.
Yeah. Naku Chenama.
Ngarku Chenama.
Widadawia.
Widadawia.
And the song that you're going to sing is obviously the title track off the album. Just tell us a little bit about this song.
So this song I'm going to sing for you, Mob, is called Malia Buddha. And what I was saying before, Malia Buddha is the traditional name for Bickerton Island. And I just remember going there and going camping, learning about all these dreaming stories about the water lilies and mermaids and all the boom boom trees. And it's a very sacred space for my mob, and I hope that it will stay that way for our future generations. So, yeah, thank you for having me in your space. It's really lovely.
So I'll let you get set up.
Yeah.
Would you like to set up, and I'll close this thing down, and we'll listen to you. We have run out of time here at Minya Biran, and I just wanted to say, perhaps this wasn't broached in some of the breakout sessions. Minya Biran, in the language from the local language, means what now? And I'm just thinking about what now, and it is going to be the International Decade of the World's Indigenous Languages starting in 2 years' time. So from 2022 to 2032, it's the decade of the world's Indigenous languages. So we'll hear more from Emily, more songs in language, and more of our languages heard all over the world, I hope. I just want to thank all of the facilitators. I want to thank you all for being here and for being so attentive. It's been a long day, and there's been so much to absorb, and I've learnt a heap. I hope you've all found the day very interesting, and I hope you're feeling motivated about the work that we need to do in our language communities, and that you feel more equipped to embark on that journey if you haven't started it yet. And there's so much to do in preserving, reviving, transmitting and teaching our first languages. There is a celebration to be happening out on the Queensland Terrace. We'll hear more beautiful music in language from Emily, as well as Troy Brady, Deline Briscoe, the Boondall State School, and there'll be weaving from Brian Watt. Thanks once again to all of our speakers, and many of you have travelled a great distance to be here today. I just came from Sydney. So we wish you all a safe journey home. I'd like to also thank the Yaba Dalgai Queensland Library Foundation donors, without whose support today would not have been possible. And thanks also to Glenn, our graphic storyteller. And you can see what he's sketched just in the last session. You will be sent copies of the work that the final version of the artwork he's made today. It'll be sent to your email that you purchased your ticket under. That's all from me. Thank you so much for being here. And back over to you, Emily.
Thank you.
I feel the cool breeze on my face, feel the cool breeze in my hair. As I sit here on the shore, this island no other can compare. Malia Buddha, Malia Buddha, Aramanja. Ya ya, ngani yadi ya, ya ya, ngani yadi ya. Ngwara kuchay namba, nganya ngadenda, ngabiheru kingarenama, miliak berdua. Rock pools glow all around. Family, one community, all known across the islands. The waters, they glitter like diamonds, hearts set in the beautiful sun. Can you hear the whispering in the trees? Oh yes, we are one. Miliak Buddha, Miliak Buddha, Aramanja. Ya ya, ngani yadi ya, ya ya, ngani yadi ya. Ngwara kuchay nama, nganya ngadenda, ngabiheru kingarenama, miliak berdua. Miliak berdua. Oh yo nungkua, ngayua ngayua nungkua. Oh yo nungkua, ngayua ngayua nungkua. Miliak Buddha, Miliak Buddha, Aramanja.